Hello, my name is Jody Blackaby. I'm a teacher here at Scott High School. I teach English. Um, I had this is my receipt right here for the the 23andMe um, ancestral DNA test. I just ordered it before I made this recording. So what happens is I'll get a kit that's sent through the mail, and then it's a swab, and I'll put my saliva on it, and I will send that back. It's a contained unit, and then I'll send it back to them. And I watch the video and it's instructions, and it's a bunch of scientists and techs in a facility, and basically they put my DNA, they replicate my DNA, and they put it on these chips, these computer chips, and the computer chips read um, my ancestry. And what it does is it takes my DNA and compares it to world populations that they have huge samples from, and it will let me know what my ethnic ancestral background is. And that's important to me because, as you can see, I don't, to most people, I don't appear white. When I meet them before I talk, I sound like I'm from Kentucky, uh, but I served 4 years in the United States Marine Corps. Um, I've been all over the United States. I've been to different countries, and everybody that I meet, and my whole family's like that. We have slanted eyes and dark skin. I'm actually one of the light skinned members of my family. Um, we don't we're not white. We know we have white in us. My mother is white, obviously, and she's Scots Irish and some German and the usual Kentucky mixture. My father's not. My father's not white whatsoever, but he doesn't know what he is because we're about 5 generations Kentucky, and in Kentucky, if you could pass for white, during the 40s and 50s and before, if you could pass for white, you did. You said you were white, and you made excuses for why you looked anything else, Hispanic or black or Indian or Middle Eastern. You made excuses for that. You most certainly didn't, um, fess up to it if you couldn't. I mean, if you think about it, it's really easy to understand because you couldn't vote. You go back to a certain time period, you couldn't vote. You go back even just a little bit farther, and you couldn't own land. So you couldn't own your own land. You couldn't vote. You had to use different water fountains. You had to, like this, and this is in my grandparents. My dad went to school during separate but equal until age 8. So you can see where, if you're a mixed ethnicity, if you get pegged as non-white, you're going to a different school. You're sitting in the back of the movie theater. Whereas if my dad, despite how he looked, could profess that he was white and had an excuse for why he looked the way he did, and that was super duper common in Kentucky and the South, especially throughout the 40s into the 50s, and then we hit the 60s, and you had the civil rights, and it became a different theme. Most white people, common citizens, didn't want to be all white, and so that's where you have a lot of people professing that they have a great grandmother that's Cherokee, and there's always some relative way back that gives them some kind of ethnic mixture. When on the other end of the scale, that's probably not true either. Most people just have white ancestry in this region, but society drove those anyway. Because of both of those, because of the denial for a long time, and then the confusion when reasons were given later, my family doesn't know what our colored elements are. Um, Anything recent, obviously, my brothers and sisters that married someone of a different race and their kids, like, it's clear, like uh, I have two nephews that are half black, and I have uh, you know I have three, I had, let's see, two nieces and a nephew that are half Puerto Rican. And so it's easy to identify their other side, but then with our side, like me and my siblings and we have no explanation. And so here's what happened. For my whole life, I liked it. I liked having this ambiguous look, this ambiguous race. I could fit in with everybody and anybody, and it made me have less of the prejudices that a lot of people did because I got to be friends with everybody, and I liked that. The problem is, I got married, and I married a Native American woman. My wife is Kaylin Thunderhawk Shantawakian, and she's Lakota Sioux. She's Lakota, and she's Standing Rock Lakota, Spirit Lake Lakota, and Turtle Mountain Chippewa. That's her total Native ancestry, and she's 78% Native American. So she has one great grandparent that was half, um, or that was partial French. But she's tribal member, and now we've had a daughter. And so my daughter is half Native American, and she's a tribal member. And when I went to do the applications, it's a very huge process to get my daughter enrolled in her tribe. Like, it's not like they're born and you just call them and tell them, because how many people would do that? Now, this is a government agency that you have to prove everything to. I had to prove my wife's, I had to show her birth certificate and her blood papers, which is what they give you once you're enrolled in a tribe. You get what's called blood papers, and it tells what tribe you're enrolled in and what your percentage of Native American is based on your ancestry. So I had to have my wife's, I had to have her mother's, her father's, both of their grandmothers and grandfathers, because to be in part of a tribe, you have to prove your lineage to an original role for that tribe when they were marched out on the Trail of Tears. So it's not an easy process to be enrolled in a tribe. You really have to have all your information. And so something like this, like a DNA test, let's say my results come back and it says I'm 40% or 38% Native American for some reason, which it won't probably, but let's say it does say something crazy like that. I can't even though it's scientific evidence that I'm Native American, I cannot enroll in a federally recognized tribe with that information. That's not enough. You have to prove your ancestry, family lineage. So it's big. Like, it's a big deal. It was a big deal to my wife. It's a big deal to my daughter. And someday my daughter's going to look at me, and we're having another baby now. So my kids are going to look at me someday and go, you know, Mom is Lakota Sioux and we're Turtle Mountain Chippewa. Like, what are you, Dad? Um, where did your, what's our ancestry from your side? And I don't have an answer to that. This DNA test will help me have that answer. Um, I'll be able to take the results from this with knowing what my ancestral populations are from, and I can say, you know, I am, according to science and the results, I am 60%, 63% Western European, which would essentially be whites, Scottish, Irish, French, German, you know, and then but if it comes back as 19% Sub-Saharan African, then I know that I have black lineage, and that may explain a lot of my physical features. If I come back with Indigenous American, then depending on how the results go, I can say that maybe I've got Hispanic, like Mexican or South American type of ancestry, or maybe Native American. So that's what makes this so interesting, is that they can take your DNA and match it up to world populations and show you what parts of the world match your exact combinations, and maybe be able to explain why I look the way I do, um, even though I don't know the roots of it. And so that's why I'm doing the test. And I'm very, I'd be glad to share my results with you all. I have no idea how they're going to turn out. But when I get them, I'll be glad to share them with you. And, we we can see how this works. It's exciting anyway. No matter how, it's exciting and kind of a cool thing to see, this new technology at work. All right.